In less than 2 weeks, you will never be able to see what we're about to witness ever again.
This is Moab, Utah. You've probably heard of it. It's located in the eastern part of the state, just 26 miles as the crow flies from the Colorado border, and nestled at the base of the soaring LaSalle mountain range. From hiking, biking, climbing, and camping, Moab is truly an outdoor recreation lover's paradise. Surrounded by 2 national parks and 2 state parks, you can just begin to imagine what this area has to offer. The biggest draw to Moab, though, by far, is its off-road trails. Elaborate trail systems traverse through the rugged landscape that make up Moab and the surrounding area. They journey far down into steep red rock canyons cut by the mighty Colorado and Green River, ending at unworldly overlooks, and roam across vast, unmatched desert landscape. Every year, hundreds upon thousands of off-road enthusiasts flock to Moab to explore and enjoy what it has to offer. It is the heart of the world of off-roading here in the United States. Knowing how big of an off-road hub it is will probably make this next part come as a surprise. 317 miles of trails in Moab are being shut down. 317. Not for the season, not for a few months, forever. There are thousands of miles of trails here, so 317 may seem like a small amount, but it's not the first time trails have been closed here, and it certainly will not be the last. This week, we're here to explore and enjoy the beautiful landscape these trails wind their way through, because by the time you see this video, you will never be able to visit them again.
The end of last month, around September 28th, I believe, the BLM, or the Bureau of Land Management, which is an entity that controls thousands upon thousands of acres of public lands here out west, they released a statement that they came to a decision that they're going to be closing 317 miles of trails here in Moab, Utah. This decision was a very long time in the making, and from what I understand, we have 1 month from September 28th to explore and enjoy these trails. So I'm out here with my 2 pups, Bella and Natalie, and we're gonna explore and enjoy as many of the closing trails as possible over the next 2 days and 1 night while we still have the time. So the first trail on my radar today is Hey Joe Canyon. This is an extremely popular trail that's getting closed down. It's actually an Easter Jeep Safari route. For those of you who don't know, Easter Jeep Safari is quite possibly one of the biggest off-road events in the country, and a few of the routes are closing, and Hey Joe Canyon is one of them. I'm accessing Hey Joe Canyon from a trail called Spring Canyon Bottom. Yeah, Spring Canyon Bottom, that's it. And so far, this is an amazing trail. How you like it so far, Nat? Oh, she don't care. How about you, Belly? Pretty nice, huh, girl? This is the gate that's probably gonna close down the trail when the time comes. Very sad. But look at this so far. We're gonna be heading down here. I actually see a vehicle right down there right now. This is absolutely crazy. So right now we're at the top of Spring Canyon, and right down there is the wash. That's gonna take us to Hey Joe Canyon. So this area is considered the Gemini Bridges / Labyrinth area. It's a massive amount of area just east of the Green River and just northwest of Moab. You also got Arches to the west of it, Canyonlands to the south, along with the LaSalle mountain range to the south. There's so many incredible locations around this area in particular. You can just imagine what this area is like. It's just as incredible. The 317 miles of trails that are closing was part of a much bigger picture. There were up to 1,000 miles of trails that the Bureau of Land Management we're considering to close, all within this area. That is an incredible amount of trails to be closing. That's a very large area to be closing. It's a very good thing that they only ended up going with 317 versus the 1,000. But we don't want to be losing any of our trails, but it could have been much worse. We could have lost the whole 1,000 versus the 317. This is all happening because of travel plans by the Bureau of Land Management. Now, I'm not a professional in this subject whatsoever, but from my understanding, every once in a while, the Bureau of Land Management has to look at an area and consider what trails can stay and which ones can't. You can't have two trails going to the same location, ending at the same destination. You can't have, multiple trails right next to each other, that sort of thing. And these are all things that they had to take into consideration with this area as well. We're about to enter a 10-mile section of trail down here at the canyon bottom, known as Hajo Canyon. And this 10 miles of trail is part of that 317 miles of trail that we're gonna be losing. In less than 2 weeks, you will never be able to see what we're about to witness ever again. I don't think I've ever run a trail quite like this. It's absolutely breathtaking. You got the canyon walls on each side of you, and it's running right along the Green River the entire time. It's incredibly hot out today though. I'm hoping that we can find a shady spot up ahead for lunch, maybe even next to the Green River. That'd be really nice. I would definitely not come here if you care about your paint job whatsoever. This is bad. Look at that. Holy shoot, man. Wow, we got some big scratches just now. Big scratches. Wow, that was crazy. So I first heard about this issue at hand here in Moab probably about a year ago, but unfortunately I didn't take it seriously. I'm from the East Coast, and back there we just don't have the public lands like we do here out west. So I think it just didn't occur to me that this was as big of an issue as it actually was. I did a good amount of research though on this issue, and one of the best sources I found was a podcast from Snail Trail Off-Road, or Snail Trail 4x4. The host on that podcast sat down with a gentleman named Ben Burr, and he is, I believe, like the CEO or the president of a nonprofit organization called Blue Ribbon Coalition. The Blue Ribbon Coalition is, like I said, a nonprofit organization that fights to keep trails like this here in Moab open. Hello. I can hear myself talking in the canyon over here and over here. I thought there were some people over there. I would definitely recommend y'all checking out that podcast episode. There is a ton of information, and I literally listened to it 4 times in the past 2 weeks just to understand exactly what was going on. I'm not affiliated with Snail Trail Off-Road or the Blue Ribbon Coalition whatsoever, but I do agree with what the Blue Ribbon Coalition are doing, so I would definitely recommend to go check them out. As well as the podcast that I mentioned, Snail Trail 4x4. That episode in particular about this issue aired about 2 weeks ago, I believe, and like I said, there's just a ton of information. Definitely recommend checking it out. I'll leave the link down below. As for Hajo Canyon, we made it to what I think is considered the end of the trail. We've got this giant piece of machinery, which is most likely in its final resting place. And this, I believe, it marks the end of the trail. I do believe the trail actually goes a little way into this canyon, but we're not gonna be checking that out here today. I think it's about time for lunch though. So I got a 6-inch right here. It was a foot long when I picked it up, but when I was in the gas station, Bella decided to eat 6 inches of it. So that was cool. Thanks, Bella. Trying to find the lizards.
They're a lot quicker than you.
Now we're not camping here. We're gonna be packing up here shortly and hopefully getting out of Hajo Canyon and Spring Canyon Wash before dark. This would be a pretty nice campsite, but you know, it's more driving tomorrow, so we'll just head on back. We'll try to find a nice campsite up on the mesa, like I said, and we got plenty more trails to be exploring. Although we are running low on daylight, we could probably get about 2.5 hours left of daylight, so we probably will be driving a little bit in the dark. Ready to go find Camp Belly? Great night. I brought the diesel heater. I wasn't sure if I was going to need it, and I definitely didn't need it. I kept it in the box all night. Now I did bring the 2 pups because usually when they get under the blanket with me, they act like heaters anyway, but they slept right on top of the blankets last night. It was a really warm night, between like 40 and 50 degrees, I'd say. A little warmer than I had originally planned for. It was also an incredibly clear night. It's a really clear day actually out right now. There's a few clouds in the distance, but nothing crazy. It's actually very clear out, wow. Out here in this part of the country, this part of Utah and just Moab in general, it's some of the darkest skies you're ever gonna see. I got some practice doing some starry night photography. It's something I've been working on, and I think I'm getting a little better at it, I think at least. Got some really good shots of the sky and the Jeep. It was a really good night. As for the area that we're in right now, in less than 2 weeks, you will never be able to come back here again. This is part of the 317 miles of trails that are gonna be closing. We're not quite at an overlook. You still gotta walk probably about a 1/4 mile to get to the end of the canyon right there. And you can kind of see with the drone, you can't see it right here, but but you can see down into the canyon and see Hajo Canyon where we were exploring yesterday. From what I understand and from what I've researched, there's an organization called SUA, and they're the ones responsible for pressuring the Bureau of Land Management for closing these lands. If we don't act now and provide support to the organizations like Blue Ribbon Coalition that fight the good fight to keep these lands open, then this 370 miles is gonna turn into much, much more. I have a list right here actually of all the trails that are getting shut down over here. I got this list, I listened once again to that podcast last night, Snail Trail 4x4, and they listed off all these trails are here. Day Canyon Point, Hajo Canyon, Mashed Potatoes, The Pickle, 10 Mile Canyon, 10 Mile Rim, Hell Roaring Canyon, Mineral Canyon, Hidden Canyon, 7 Up, Burrs Trail. 2 out of 3 of the overlooks on Deadman Point, Lost World Butte, the very end, most of the Rock Canyon Loop, 2 out of 3 overlooks on Taylor Canyon. I've never been over there. I would love to check it out, but I won't be able to very soon. Dead Cow Loop, and basically every trail in the vicinity of the South Fork / 7 Mile Canyon. Now there are a lot more trails in this getting shut down. They just don't have names like these ones. They're just named by numbers and whatnot, but they are still worth your time checking out. They're just as beautiful as this, but very soon you won't be able to. It was great being out here, camped right here on the canyon's edge. I'm gonna get packed up very shortly. I already have most of it packed up, just gonna put the tent away, and we're gonna make our way to our last trail of this trip.
These trails, they're truly something else. Not even just the trails, this landscape is something from a dream. The vast desert, the deep canyons, and the red rock and sandstone all around, it's absolutely incredible. I know I say that a lot, but it really is. It's incredible. Ash and I moved to Western Colorado almost 3 years ago, and I love the Rocky Mountains. Exploring them is one of my favorite things to do. But standing on the edge of a canyon here in Moab, looking out over this infinite desert, it gives me a certain feeling I haven't felt anywhere else. These trails go on for miles, and no matter what turn you take, you'll find something you can't find anywhere else. This place is one of a kind, and coming here to explore and see the unimaginable is my favorite thing to do. Some of Ash and I's favorite trails are here in Moab. They weren't part of the recent closures, and I can't imagine if they were. We have tons of memories on these trails at these overlooks, and I would be devastated if they took them from us. So I feel for the people whose favorite trails and favorite locations were taken from them this time around. It's sad. These trails will close and slowly be forgotten about over the years.
Just wow, look at this. I've never seen anything quite like this. There's some people down there in some canoes and kayaks enjoying it. Look at this. This is the Green River. This is absolutely incredible. This reminds me a lot of Dome Plateau, just east of here. That's also in Moab. And you know, it's very similar with the overlooks, although this might be even better. This is absolutely insane. On the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management's website, they say that the reason that they're closing down these trails is rampant off-road use. And you know, I've been out here for the past 24 hours and where's all the people? I've seen 2 groups of people back on Hajo Canyon. It was a group of side-by-sides and a group of Jeeps. And you know, they weren't trashing the place. They weren't going off the trail. They weren't leaving toilet paper behind. They weren't carving out trees or the rocks. They were just enjoying the scenery, just like me. So I'd have to disagree with the Bureau of Land Management's statement of rampant off-road use. I mean, it's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful past 2 days. And I just don't see I don't see all the off-roaders that they're talking about. Moab is one of the cleanest places I've ever been to, off-road wise and backcountry wise. The people out here that travel them really do take care of them. I've been on a lot of trails in a lot of other states and they definitely need work, but Moab's different. Like I said, people just take care of the trails out here. They respect them. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and lie to your face and say there aren't gonna be people that disrespect the trail. They're not gonna be people who take advantage of the trail on these public lands. There are always going to be those people that leave toilet paper behind, that don't pick up trash when they see it on the trail, cut down live trees or the live limbs, carve into the rocks and the trees for that fact. There's always gonna be those people, but there's gonna be a lot more people that do respect the trail and don't do those things. Moab is one of the greatest places I've ever been to when it comes to public lands and trails. And I really hope that the 317 miles of trails that were taken from us don't turn into more. I would definitely encourage y'all to go check out that podcast I was talking about. I'll leave a link down below. It's called Snail Trail 4x4. Like I said, they dive into this issue extremely well. Now, this isn't the end of these trails. They can still be saved. The Blue Ribbon Coalition, who I talked about earlier, is gonna be bringing this decision to court from what I understand, and they're gonna try to keep these trails open for us. So if you agree with anything I've said over the past 2 days, please go and check out the Blue Ribbon Coalition and support their cause. Like I said, we don't want this 317 miles of trails to turn into any more. If y'all enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by 2024. Also, I'm gonna be Venmoing $10 who can ever guess the current mileage in the Jeep at the end of this trip. There's the current mileage. Comment your guess down below along with your Instagram handle. You gotta be within 50 miles of the current mileage. And we'll be announcing the winner next video with what the mileage was at. We appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you out on the trail and we'll see you next time.